News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, RFK Jr. has been nominated to be the HHS Secretary. Some people are pulling their hair out over this. Other people think it's great. And we need to talk about whether or not he's a great choice. And I thought, you heard Trump say, I'm not going to let you have the keys to the kingdom. I'm not going to let you do everything you want to do. Stuff like, I'm not going to let you touch oil, that big, beautiful oil or whatever. But is RFK Jr. a bridge too far? And I think the answer to that question is, first of all, if you're an RFK Jr. voter and he's now been nominated HSS, you've gotten the best that you could hope for, since he joined Trump. If you vote for him, you made a wise decision, clearly. Because if you like RFK Jr., the chances are it's not about his environmental, and you listen to WBAP, the chances are it's not about his environmental policies, which, did you know that former President Hussein Obama actually had RFK Jr. on a short list to be EPA director? Yeah, he's so far out of the mainstream. He's so whack-a-mole that former President Hussein Obama, a two-term president that was widely revered and widely liked by many who like his socialist policies, somehow say that now RFK Jr. is bad, but before he was great. Right? So I understand why you might think he's a bridge too far. I thought he was a bridge too far for HHS when I heard this, and I've also thought some things earlier, but when you know what's going on, then you go, So today I dug in a little bit more. Admittedly, not tons. But number one, he is not anti-vax. No matter what the left tells you, he's not anti-vax. He says he wants choice. I heard him say it himself today in the news. He wants choice. He wants you to know the facts, and then he wants you to be able to choose. He's not trying to stop vaccinations. Second of all, this is what you should, this should tell you a lot. Moderna, their stock crashed today. Well, not crashed, but their stock went down 6% upon the news that he was nominated HHS Secretary. Pfizer down 2.6%. And second of all, he talked to, I listened to a 5-minute and 50-second video he released today after being nominated. It was clearly prepared in advance for this, the past week or two. And he explains by showing us the foods, not getting in detail into the weeds, the boring stuff, but just saying there's additives in here that are not allowed in Europe. There's additives in here that came from coal, and now they derive it from petroleum, and it's only there to keep coloring in for food coloring. It doesn't alter the taste either way. It doesn't need to be in there. And these are chemicals and or ingredients that you don't need that may cause very harmful effects. Why is our freaking country so obese? Why is there a massive obesity epidemic? And he talks about the foods in sweeping manners, not in, lengthy, boring stuff, but just giving us the things. And I said, you know what? I think this guy's good for us. We have a massive weight problem. We have people that aren't qualified to join our military because they're too obese now. Our children, our neighbors and their children, our nieces and nephews are becoming more and more obese. This is killing us. It is killing our national security. It's destroying us. And he says, why do Americans die earlier than Canadians, Germans, Italians, Japanese, Koreans, or Australians? Suddenly, more and more Americans begin suffering from chronic diseases. Big Pharma making billions, selling Adderall, Prozac, rescue inhalers with unhealthy Americans. Enough is enough. So I'm for this now. I wasn't before. I said, make him an ambassador, an emissary or something to HHS or something, but now I'm for it. And you know what? If a transgender man who has a you-know-what hanging with a skirt on can be our HHS Secretary under Joe Biden, next to a guy who is a luggage thief who wears lipstick and pumps, who was arrested for stealing luggage in Dulles, I believe, in D.C. and in Las Vegas International Airport, McCarran, you know what? Then I think RFK Jr. can be it, especially if he's good enough for a former President Hussein Obama. So that's it. I'm done. I'm in. How about you? Number two, Matt Gaetz. I'm going to give you the details in a moment. But there is a reason why they don't want you to support Matt Gaetz. There is a reason why. And I read a lengthy piece in the Federalist today. Well, lengthy for me. And I read the whole thing, which I normally wouldn't do. because I can't read every article a million times over. I would be reading articles right now. I wouldn't have a show. But I read this one through, and it seems clear to me that the Justice Department, which went after Trump and rigged it for Russia, did the same thing to Matt Gaetz. And it did it in enough time to make us not want to support him and to make everybody in the press to denounce him and for even mainstream Republicans to denounce him. No one wants to be near him. After I share this with you, I think you're going to have a different opinion. So I want to ask you two questions on this. Are you okay with RFK Jr. being our HHS Secretary, or is that a bridge too far for you? And do you believe the same FBI that set up President Trump with fake Russia allegations and wiretapped illegally on him also set up Matt Gaetz? Because they did no charges on that sex trafficking stuff. No charges, no nothing, case over. Could it be that Matt Gaetz is so effective these allegations are all ruse? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide open. 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Lines wide open. We can pop you on. We have enough time to get you on right now. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Are you okay with RFK Jr. being our HHS Secretary, or is this a bridge too far for you? Do you believe that same FBI that set up President Trump with fake Russia allegations and wiretapping illegally, all this kind of stuff, also set up Matt Gaetz? And could it be that Matt Gaetz is so effective these allegations are a ruse? Now, a couple of things. I got a lot of things, actually. The FBI told us, and based on the report I saw today, I believe they lied to us. Remember when they said that January 6th, the RNC and DNC had bombs planted out them right outside in front of their doors on the same day? Remember that Kamala was right there and the Secret Service didn't catch it? And it was like, how come Kamala was allowed to be right there, the vice president, right around these bombs, supposedly, at the DNC, and it wasn't caught? And then the FBI told us that the phone companies that they subpoenaed said, the data got messed up. And the FBI tried to analyze the data to see whose phone it was that was in the area there to see who was who, to try to bust who it was. And guess what? The FBI said, the data, it's all scrambled. We can't get it. The data's messed up. Well, I have a report today that says that's BS. The phone companies say the data's fine. We were never asked to provide it. We were never told there was a problem. There's no problem with the data. You believe anything this corrupt Justice Department, and this is why Matt Gaetz needs to go in there and freaking lit a flamethrower to it. Yes. No more partisans. No more people trying to hurt people because they politically disagree with them. Trying to put our Catholic friends in jail for going to freaking church. People like that practice the Catholicism that Mel Gibson and what's the guy from Pennsylvania, the very conservative Pennsylvania former senator, I forget his name, he ran for president. Gregory in Southlake, WBAP, hello.
Hey, Chris, I'm all on board with RFK Jr. heading the HHS. While he's not anti-vax, I have listened to him in some congressional testimony, including with Senator Ron Johnson's COVID hearings, and there is really very little evidence that kids need 140 vaccines.
They need none. They need zero.
And there have been studies shown that people who don't get vaccinated ever, like amongst the Amish and things like this, they live longer and have better health outcomes than the rest of us.
No child should ever get the vaccine. None. There is no risk to them. There is zero risk. There is not one record of a child dying or getting massively or irrevocably ill from COVID. That was a lie, and it's destructive to our freaking children and their hearts. Not all of them, but to enough.
It was destructive to just about everybody that took it.
Yes, and the girls and the menstrual cycles from the girls, this is disgusting to have a child done this. And if people want to do that, that's their business. But my gosh, my wife.
Yeah, no, I think the thing ought to be banned, and I am fully on board with what he's going to do.
Well, he's not going to ban COVID vaccines. He's going to give us a choice. No.
I think it should be because, look, I'm just telling you.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I spent a lot of time looking into this during the whole COVID thing and in the aftermath of when all the vaccine injuries started, and listened to the congressional hearings that Ron Johnson put on, listened to some of the other experts. And this thing was the COVID vaccine was an absolute disaster. But I also think there's mounting evidence that just this explosion of autism has to be related to some of these childhood vaccines. And
let me stop you there. I don't know, but listen, please. Okay, I don't know, but I know that I heard RFK Jr. today, and he said we are not going to be banning any vaccines. I'm not anti-vax. I want to let you know the information, and I want to give you a choice. So I think that's what he's. That's not. I don't think I know that's what he's saying, and that's what he said, and I like that. I like hearing that. I don't want people saying no choice, and I don't like it. I'm not being negative on you, but I don't like it when you say no choice. You sound like the left, trying to take away all of our choices and censor us or whatever. I want us to make our own decisions. That's what freedom is, just not being forced into anything. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Wait till you hear how from the Federalist today, FBI's Matt Gaetz operation silenced an effective GOP voice. The FBI's operation sidelined an effective Republican voice at a crucial time, and that was the point. I'm going to share some highlights from this. Was a very interesting piece that I want to share with you because it shows that Matt Gaetz may be so effective and good in the fight that they made stuff up and put it together and threw it at the wall knowing there was nothing there. Gee, like they did to President Trump? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. You hear that piece. But I'm also going to share with you, speaking of cover-ups and COVID, Rand Paul is going to target a cover-up as the head of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. I'll give you details on that as well. Coming up next, plus your call, lines wide open. Are you okay with RFK Jr. being put in as our HHS Secretary, or is that a bridge too far for you? Hey, if a trans man with his hoo-ha down there, wearing a skirt, saying he's a woman, can be our HHS under Biden, then God darn it, what's his name? RFK Jr. can be our HHS Secretary. He'll be hella better, I say. And do you believe the same FBI that set up Trump with the fake Russia allegations also set up Matt Gaetz? Lines open. Chime in right now, 800-288-WBAP. I'll continue with that next in 2 minutes. All that intel that I'll share with you at 8:18 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, I love this one. My brother and I used to jam to this one. He used to sing it. We had a dance. Okay, billionaire Bill Ackman excited about Trump. This is him today talking to Megyn Kelly.
Teams of their businesses are extremely optimistic. Even those that have voted against Trump are excited about what's going to happen with the economy. So I think we're going to have a big economic boom. And actually freeing up a meaningful number of government employees to make them available to the private sector will actually help manage the potential for inflation. So the cost cutting is one thing, but making the government more efficient on regulatory approvals. You think about how difficult it is in America to build a bridge, a highway, a house, the faster, if you can accelerate construction, obviously that has a huge impact on infrastructure, the fluidity of the economy, driving demand, and actually, I think freeing up government workers to step into some of these roles that will be created will actually help the economy manage through this period.
That's billionaire Democrat liberal Bill Ackman, who went Trump and helped lead the charge to fire the anti-Semite Jew haters at Harvard and Columbia and other places. And he's excited about the Trump boom, even people that didn't vote for him. He said, now here's Sylvester Stallone tonight. He actually introduced President Trump at an event.
Please welcome the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you.
That's pretty cool. I know he's not as massive as he used to be, but dude, more and more people like this guy. I was listening to, that's so awesome. Good for him, good for Trump that he has all this support from so many people that were afraid to come out and support him, and for so many people that have awakened. It's just beautiful to see everything that's been going on, isn't it? Are you okay with RFK Jr. being picked as Trump's HHS Secretary? Or is that a bridge too far for you? And do you believe the same FBI that set up President Trump with fake Russia allegations also set up Matt Gaetz with this sex trafficking allegation that was totally dropped? And there are no charges and no case, and it's done. According to the Washington Post, it's totally done. And could it be that Matt Gaetz is so effective, these allegations are all a ruse? For example, way back when, I almost bought the Trump-Russia allegations way back when. Anyway, the number is 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chris Kroc Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Rand Paul is going to target the COVID cover-up as the head of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Hey, by the way, Matt Gaetz is so bad that someone named Joe Scarborough, you may be familiar with him, the host of Morning Joe, was suspended from MSNBC for 2 days back in 2010 for giving campaign contributions to Matt Gaetz. Yes, he's so bad that Joe and Susan Scarborough, his ex-wife, each contributed $1,000 to Matt Gaetz, his legislative candidacy as a state legislator in Florida. And the Scarboroughs gave money to him and to his father in 2005. Obviously, Matt Gaetz is horrible. Yeah. FBI's Matt Gaetz Operation Silence an Effective GOP Voice, the Federalist writes today. Adam Schiff secretly released information and lied about the so-called whistleblower in Ukraine. Gaetz led Republicans to charge it. January 6th, riot at the Capitol. Gaetz defended concerns Gaetz did about election integrity, reminded Democrats they supported riots the preceding summer, criticized the media and the political overreaction over the rioters. Liz Cheney praised the Beltway insiders for leading a group of Republicans to try to impeach her. Gaetz led the charge to her. He rallied in Wyoming, and he got her unseated 2 years later. He was a frequent fixture on television, 87 minutes a month on air during the 12 months prior to the allegations, and the allegations of sex trafficking changed everything. New York Times reporters won awards for their roles pushing the Russia collusion line, penned anonymously sourced articles claiming the same thing. Oh, sex with an underage girl. 3 people briefed on the matter. No one identified. Contained no evidence of Gaetz' sex crime, but much guilt by association. Late in the story, they said no charges have been filed. The extent of his criminal exposure is unclear. Damage was done. 18 months later, Washington posted another thing. They said career prosecutors recommend no charges. Not only was he never convicted of any crimes he was alleged to have committed, he wasn't even charged, and he isn't going to be. CNN fake news reporter said Matt Gaetz' days in politics are likely numbered. The Washington Post, Gaetz' position is shaky. There's an obvious political risk vocally defending somebody who might have sex trafficking allegations. The goal was to release politicized leaks. Glenn Greenwald, the liberal Democrat journalist, who's he said these leaks have the effect and the intent of destroying somebody's reputation, convicting them of repellent crimes. In the court of public opinion, that'll never be brought up in a court of law, and that's what happened. Saturday Night Live skits, political reporters suggesting the walls were closing in, Democrat-run ethics committee, and guess what? Nothing proven. So you know what? Keep them. Next, California teacher storms out of a classroom. California teacher threatens to physically attack any Trump supporters. More and more insane reactions. Hear it. I'll share it with you, and we'll talk about it. That's next to the Chris Kroc Show. Should our kids be able to wear political shirts and hats as long as they don't violate the dress code? That triggered some of these Trump haters. Should teachers treat our Trump-supporting students like this, that are treating this way in horrible ways? Should they be fired or reprimanded? Should teachers that have this kind of a wild bias even be allowed near our kids, let alone teaching them? And do these people need good political leaders or just mental health help or something else? That's next to the Chris Kroc Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's at 33 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. All right, let's just get into it. Here is a Connecticut teacher freaking out after Trump won and going nuts on social media. This is a teacher of children in a school district, public school district in Connecticut.
And people of color and poor people and gay people and all the people that I care about aren't going to be safe in America. Neither the are you guys. Just because you won doesn't mean we don't remember who the you voted for. You're not in the clear. And just please, please don't test your gangster on me, because you will end on a stretcher, gone forever. So serious. Nobody talk to me unless you want to swing. If you want to fight, text me, call me, whatever. Anybody else, stay the out of my face. And if you voted for Trump, literally, please delete me, block me, get rid of everything of me, or step to me so that I know what's up and I can handle you how I see fit. Please just come forward. We know. Just tell me or leave. Please, the door.
Well, that's your child's teacher. That's your child's teacher somewhere. And same thing in California. A student wore a MAGA hat or a MAGA shirt, and the student sent out an email. One did that. This is a female again. Teacher said it's unfair for one group to be able to espouse racist, misogynistic, anti-Semite, and homophobic views. It's not allowed to express. I am not, all caps, allowed to express my political views, she said, sent in the letter to students. She decried the MAGA shirts that represent a deep hatred of minorities, women, non-Christian, and LGBTQ+. She said a hate crime. The child committed a hate crime when he wore the shirt to school. As a Latina woman who's agnostic at best but leans towards atheism, and a mother of LGBTQ daughter in support of all caps my LGBTQ students, I do not feel safe at work, and I fear for the safety of my daughter and my students. I can't stop laughing now because I can't do this anymore without laughing at her. Hold on. I can't. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I do not feel safe at work. I fear for the safety of my daughter and my students. When administration allows students to wear clothing that express their utter disdain and hatred of women, minorities, non-Christian religions, and LGBTQ plus community. She's a Spanish educator. This is your Spanish teacher telling you. Could you imagine getting an email about this? You're supposed to Spanish. What the hell is this? She referred to the president as a fascist put into office by people who fear the changing demographics of a country. Yes, by a 55% Hispanic men. Yes, they fear the fascist and racist. She concluded her raging email, the Breitbart reports, by telling her pupils she would be taking some days off for her mental health. While trying to come up with a better definition of what political neutrality looks like in the classroom, blah, blah, other than being intimidated, so we can all feel safe coming to school rather than being intimidated by MAGA attire. MAGA attire, which has promised to end social services, including education, as we know. Yes! No more education for anyone! None! Every school in America, shut down! No more teaching. No more books. Burn them all. Burn them all. Burn down the schools. Make them into camps for the illegals. Every school in America. Oh, my gosh. Yes. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Should our kids be able to wear political shirts and hats as long as they don't violate the dress code of your district? If it violates the dress code of your district, I've never changed my mind on that. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it violates the district, not about politics, whatever the district's policies are before any of this stuff happens. Should our kids be able to wear political dress shirts and hats as long as they don't violate dress code in your district? Should teachers that treat Trump supporter students like this, threatening people that vote for Trump, or telling kids these crazy emails. There was another male teacher in California that yelled at the Hispanic kids, like, you don't know what you're doing. These are racist people, and you're going to lose all your rights, and people like you are going to be rounded up. He yelled that at his students. You hear that one? I have to pull that one up for you. Should teachers that have this kind of wild bias be allowed to teach our kids? Like, are you okay? Like, if you live in Plano ISD, for example, or I don't know, the HEB area, and your teachers teaching this crap or saying this kind of crap to your kids, etc. Denton ISD, wherever you are, Waxahachie. Should teachers that have this kind of wild bias be allowed to teach our kids? And do they need good political leaders? These teachers that have gone way, way insane off the deep end. Do they need good political leaders or just mental health help or something else? I think they actually need something else. I think this is their faith. This is their religion. I do think they need mental health help, too. I think they need to see a psychiatrist who's not biased in any way in the political thing. You can see what this is. This is some sort of a mental illness or mental struggle they have that needs a mental health professional. And it might just be 6 months of intensive therapy and counseling. It's okay. But this is unrealistic. This is wild. This man was our president before. This man won the election, the popular vote, and everything. So this is like people having a problem with 75 million Americans or more. And this is a unrealistic mental health. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide up. Well, not wide open. We have 4 lines open. 800-288-WBAP. Timmy in Granbury, what's up, WBAP?
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to wear, clothing that doesn't violate the dress code. That's just silly. Just being idiots. Is it hard for you to not laugh when you hear the things I'm reading? What some of these teachers are saying? I mean, isn't it like insane? Isn't it like? Is it? Do you mind me laughing so hard? I can't believe how stupid some of these teachers are. What they're saying is, it's crazy. Yeah, it just kind of seems like it's just kind of the culture. I don't understand it, but hey, I know it's a little bit late, but what qualifies him to be Attorney General? You mean him? Yeah, we'll get to that. I'll let you get to that in a second with me. But do you think these teachers need mental health counseling, or should they be allowed to teach our students? I'm sorry, say again? Should these teachers be allowed to teach our students that are this mentally unstable and saying all these wild things? Oh, no, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. Yeah. I'll do a quick mention of the HHS thing. Listen, what qualifies him, the guy what qualifies him is the president nominate him. And if he gets voted in, that qualifies him. I get that, but he barely practiced law. He's been a government official for at least 14 years now. So, I mean, effectively, the way I see it, he's part of the swamp. Well, he's not a government official, RFK Jr. Well, no, I'm sorry. I was talking about Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. What qualifies him? He's an attorney. He went to William and Mary Law School. He's barely practiced law. What do you mean barely practiced? He has a law degree. He's an attorney. He's a licensed attorney. I understand. He's a law degree. Let me ask you a question. Do you know if you even have to be an actual attorney to be the Attorney General of the United States of America? You do not have to be an attorney. So then what doesn't, my question, I'll flip it on you. What doesn't qualify Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General? Yeah, that is a good question. I mean, can you name an Attorney General that wasn't in the political world before in our history? No, but I can tell you, I have a friend that's a financial planner with a law degree that personally I feel would make a better Attorney General than Matt Gaetz. Well, I mean, I guess I'd like to see you and him, your friend and him, sit down together and go at it and see, as far as debate and policy and legal issues and see which one wins. I appreciate your call, though, sir. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you. All right, Ramon in Red Oak. Hello, Ramon. You are live. Welcome to WBAP. Thank you. Any teacher that goes off on any child, especially on political views, should be given a pink slip, especially if she or she is threatening that child. But if that teacher is one of those that is calm and collected and it expresses their viewpoint calmly without threatening, then, hey, they can stay. But if they're threatening, they need to go. Yeah. Now, but I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I get you right. You're saying that
you're saying that the teacher who is threatening violence should not at all be allowed to teach. If they're just saying that MAGA is not threatening violence, but like this one where I was having trouble even reading what she was saying, like viscerally laughing, they're a threat. They're a threat to LGBTQ students. They're anti-Semitic. They have a deep hatred of minorities, women, and non-Christians and LGBTQ plus. I mean, it's a hate crime to wear a Trump shirt to school. Should this woman be at all allowed to be teaching and even have a teacher's license?
No, because especially if she feels that she has to go and take time off for mental health, it's like, you might not want to come back because this is just going to continue. The red wave is going to get bigger and stronger because, as a Hispanic,
Wait a minute. You are a racist Hispanic? You want to round up illegals, and you're racist, and you're misogynistic, and you hate women and minorities, sir?
I guess I'm going to have to apply for a triple K card.
Do you hate yourself, sir?
No, because I was born here legally. My grandmother came from Mexico legally under the Refugee Act because of the Mexican Revolution. She even told me, as a resident, any Hispanics or anybody else from other countries come here illegally should be sent back.
Yes,
because she came here the correct way. And she said the only way to come to the United States is to come correctly because you will act correctly. You come illegally, you would do all sorts of illegal stuff like these Venezuelans that we have problems with now.
And let me tell you something. And you're darn right, the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua literally took a woman in front of her $800,000 house near North Dallas, near the Dallas Love Field Airport, and jumped her in her driveway and dragged her in her house, pistol whipped her, beat the hell out of her, so they would call her fingers off if she didn't tell them where everything was. And they stole $75,000 worth of jewelry and several designer handbags.
Somebody told them that she's got that money, and they also were using Google Translator.
Yes.
To try and get that information.
Correct. And then second of all, Tren de Agua got struck against in Farmers Branch. So they're moving more into the burbs now, and which is their hallmark. And they shot somebody in the head and dumped their body in the side of the road in Farmers Branch. And
as a veteran, they're going to have a hard time trying to take me down because one shot, one kill. They don't get me on the first shot, they don't get a second.
Amen. Do you carry?
Yes, I do.
Good. I'm glad you do.
I got a concealed carry license.
Me too.
And whenever I feel that I'm going into an area that I will maybe need it, I carry it because it's better to have it and not need it.
I would one-up you. I would encourage you to carry it whenever you can. And it is a burden, and people laugh at that sometimes, but it is. And you just got to be aware of what's going on, so you can carry it where you can. You got to put it in your.
As a veteran, I'm hyper, vigilant.
Yes,
and that's why it's hard to sleep because the house, if it creaks and I'd never heard the creak before, I'm up checking the house.
Yeah. You got to have I got a nice kind of a mini cop flashlight. It does strobing if I want to, but it's a tapper, so you can tap it, and you have that with one hand, and right next you got your gun ready, and you just and you want to be with that it's called the funnel of death, which is where if they have to come down the hallway to you, that's called the funnel of death or the tunnel of death. Cops call it that because you have nowhere to go if they're coming at you, so you want to be at the end of the tunnel or up at the top of the stairs and defend them coming up or come down the hallway and pop them and drop them as they do before you go out.
And make sure that the ammo is hollow point, so that way it doesn't go through the body.
That's the only thing I carry. And then the other thing is, last but not least, is don't go outside if it's dark. Don't ever do that. That's how you die. Or that's how you shoot somebody that's breaking into your car, and then you go to jail for doing something maybe you shouldn't have done.
If they break into it, you got insurance, dudes.
Yeah.
Just let
call
them
the
break
cops.
into the car.
Yeah.
Call the cops. Let the insurance handle it. Just if they come inside the house, past the threshold.
If they try to come inside the house in Texas, if they're banging your door to try to break it down, you can shoot them. So that's that. Okay. Yeah. Look it up on your own, but that's the truth. The truth is, if you're trying to bust the door down, you can shoot them. There was I knew that for several years from lawyers who work with the program that I used for years, and And if there was a case, for example, in Dallas or Garland 6 months, a year ago, and somebody was going bam, bam, they were trying to bang it in. They knocked. They thought somebody wasn't home. They were trying to bang in this apartment door, and the guy shot 16 rounds through and killed. I think he killed one and injured the other one, and no charges, of course. He did it lawfully. I got to roll, but you're a great caller, Ramon. Keep it up. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to be playing you another piece of audio. The teacher that was threatening to go after you and beat you and stuff like that for supporting Trump, she resigned, and you'll hear her crying and sobbing on the news trying to say how much she loves the students. That's coming up next, plus your call at 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Should our kids be able to wear political shirts and hats as long as they don't violate the dress code at your school district? And should teachers that treat Trump-supporting students like this be fired and reprimanded? And should teachers even that have this kind of wild bias even be allowed to teach our kids? All that next in the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
How hard is it to walk away from that?
It's hard right now because, this is not who I am as a professional or who I am as a teacher. I've devoted my whole life to this, preparing my whole life. I always wanted to be a teacher from the time I was a young child. I finally worked my way up to that. And I am well respected, which I appreciate. I love my students. I love their families. I love the people I work with.
But I'll kill you if you voted for Trump. Ah! There's more I'll play for you. And then I have a teacher that went freaking nuts on Latino students in his district in California and said vile things about Trump, them and Trump and their parents. But let me go to Joe in Grapevine first. Joe, hello. Welcome to WBAP.
Chris, good show, buddy, as always.
Thank
always
you.
Ready, locked and loaded, buddy, for
Thank
Bear.
you.
Chris, I agree with you. This teacher, they need to go through a psychological evaluation, but I don't even think people like that are making threats. They do not need to be teaching. And some of these threats that I've heard on the internet from, mostly women just angry at men, threats with weapons if they ever see you walk up, they will shoot you, things like that. And they really don't have an intent for like self-defense. It's more like looking for an excuse to do something to someone. Chris, does this not fall under some sort of red flag law?
Yes. Well, they should have a psych evaluation. And in fact, the school district called the police on this teacher. And she resigned, and I'm going to share some details on this coming up. I got to roll, my friend, but I thank you for your call, Joe. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. You're going to hear the rest of the sobbing liberal on the news who was threatening to kill people, hurt people. A teacher who had to resign from her job. You hear more on this, including what the district said and how much of a relief that it is to them publicly that she resigned. But you're going to hear another teacher, a male teacher, say vile things to Hispanic students about their parents voting for Trump. Louis Black, that's coming up next in the Chris Crock Show at 3 minutes after the hour. Plus your call at 800-288-WBAP. Louis Black, Goodbye Yeller Brick Road. Final tour comes to Majestic Theater November 24th. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Text Louis to 1-800-288-9227 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. 800-288-9227 to win.